All right. Is this on? Should be. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm going to be doing a coding stream this morning. I know I've been doing a lot of gaming playthroughs and streaming and whatnot, which has been a lot of fun, but I also like doing this as well, and I got some time this morning. It is Father's Day today. So, happy Father's Day to everybody out there, whether you are a father yourself, or if everybody's got a father. So happy Father's Day. As is tradition in my family here that my wife and I have done on either Mother's or Father's Day, the person gets breakfast in bed of their choice, and then they basically get to do whatever they want that day. They don't have to do any chores. They don't have to do anything, and basically get free reign of the day. So I'm going to be doing a lot of streaming today. And that's why I'm going to be doing this coding, random code streaming this morning. So I've already got a plan in place. And, plans are meant to be broken because that's what happens with code. I have an agenda of what I want to get on to today. And if I get through all of it, great. If not, that's all right. So what I want to focus on today is first talking about this feature. This is one I'm actually using Rocks now on a project at work. And again, just for context, Rocks is a mocking framework for .NET. It's similar or akin to NSubstitute, MOQ, Fake It Easy, those ones, but it's all based on source generation. So none of it's done at runtime, and there's some nice perf gains and other things you can do. You can basically mock anything that's possible in C#. You're not limited to what other people do, like with expression trees and whatnot. By the way, I forgot. I'm going to have my stream set to watch on my phone here, which I typically do just to make sure everything is live and good. So let's do that. Let's go back over here. Let's go into that, go to my account, and it should have picked up that I'm live, which I am. All right. Nice. All right, cool. So it's a mocking framework, and you can do also, you're not limited to expression trees like the other frameworks typically tend to be. So I could do things like mock interfaces that have pointers, which is kind of rare and maybe a little bit off the beaten path, to say the least, but it's possible. So I've been using it at work. I finally convinced there's a project I've been working on for the past couple of months, and I convinced the team, hey, let's try it. And I said, if there's ever something we run into that we simply cannot work around, I would put in the extra time to back it out and put in another framework. So far that hasn't happened. But one of the things I've noticed is a bug, which I'm going to try to fix today. But another one is this notion of closed generics. So let me go over here. Let's put that in here. And so the thing that I'm getting at here is what you can do in Rocks, and I'll just do it in VS Code here, is you can say like rock create, and then you could say iThing of string, assuming that iThing is a generic interface and takes a type parameter. So this closes it, but then you end up with, I think the type that's generated is like iThing of string create expectations. For one thing, that just looks kind of ugly. And the other problem is that if you ever want to create another one of these, now you got to go in and do like, GUID or something like that. And then you have iThing of GUID. I forget if that's like the actual naming convention of the of is capitalized or not. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. The point is, I don't like this. I've never liked this, but that's just what I was always doing, because I was always saying this should have this generic, this generic feel to it. Well, since I've now added support for open generics, and the only way to do an open generic is you have to say type of iThing, like that. You can't specify that with the generic attribute version. But what this generates is iThing create expectations, like that. And then you would fill it in with string or then GUID or whatever you want to do, and that just flows through and makes it all work. So there's only one generation cycle for this generic expectations type. And the more I've been using this, the more I'm like, one, I don't even do this anymore. And I'm now starting to think maybe the right thing to do is to actually make it something that you can't do, that you can't do this. If you use the generic attribute, then you can only specify non-generic types, and that's it. Now, this would be a breaking change. And the way I would do this is also enforce it with an analyzer. So the code would look through this and say, if you do this, then it's going to give you an analyzer, maybe a warning, maybe an error to say, change it to this. Maybe I could provide a code fix to then change this definition into something like this. Maybe. That's another thing. But what I'm also thinking about is, well, maybe drop the generic attribute altogether. Because, you know, now if I want to do rock create of just like type of, let's say iThing, and that's not generic, that works too. And that would end up giving you iThing create expectations, and that would be fine. You know, this, and let's get this right. That, nope, that are equivalent. There's no difference. This is a little bit more typing, of course, but like keyboard typing, but they do the same thing. And why have two ways of doing the same thing? This actually lets you do slightly more. And this isn't limited in any way. Okay. All I do here is extract the type, just like I'm doing here. But this has more limitations, especially if it gets to the feature of static abstract members, which I'll talk about in a moment. But what I'm thinking about is if I do support static abstract members, this wouldn't work anyway. You can't pass in an interface that has a static abstract member defined on it. This actually works. You can do this, and that's fine. So I'm thinking maybe the right thing to do is just obsolete this altogether and only allow you to define things this way. In fact, on the project I'm on right now, that's actually how we're defining everything. So whether it's generic or not. So anyway, that's just one thing I'm thinking of doing. It would be a breaking change. That's why I've set it the milestone of 9, because I don't know if it's something I'm actually going to do or not. But I feel like it's the right thing to do, because it just, if you force everybody to close generics, you have to define that every single time. Whereas if I say you have to define as an open generic, then you can use that one type just like you have the one type defined in the first place, and then just make generic instantiations of it all over the place. All right, so that was one thing I wanted to discuss real quick. The other one also has to get back to static abstract members. The first thing that comes up with this is, where did I come up with this? There was something, when I was doing recordings of this, there was something that I ran into with this that ended up being a little odd, and I can't remember what it was. But there was something in the test that it started making it a little squirrely to do this. But if I do this, which is the whole thing of doing static abstract members and interfaces, that whole feature, if I do this, then I have to do this. And the reason why, at least the thinking I have in my head right now, is if I make expectations work in parallel, Like if you're running tests in parallel, and that's the point I make on this bullet point here. If I make them in parallel, then a static member needs to be safe from another asynchronous flow that's currently executing. So I'm thinking of using async local, but then if I put something into async local, I have to know at what point do I pull that out. And I don't use that for async local. And even for async local, I think I also need to, I can't just put like a set of expectations in there because there may be two sets of expectations across, but those should be separate from each other in terms of flow. I'm not sure. I may have to like say generate a GUID that is also part of the expectations I'm putting in and then into async local. And then once I'm done with all that tests, then I say remove it, I think. And I think if I have to do that way, I need to have a way to say, when are you done? And the easiest way or the most consistent way to do it is to make it disposable. The problem is that would be a breaking change. Again, I ran into something that was a little odd with it when I tried to do that before, but that maybe needs must. So these, if I even do this, I may move these both to 9 and say do that at that time, because I have the feeling that's just, those are going to be breaking changes as well. And yeah, but I want to revisit this one eventually because I do feel like that by supporting static API members, I'd be the only mocking framework that does that in .NET. But it also, again, fills a hole because especially when it comes to operators, I'm not so much interested in doing this because I may have a static method on. And that actually makes things kind of ugly in a little bit because in that case, I have to make the actual mock type that I generate public because you need to be, or at least internal, probably internal. Yeah, I'll have to debate that one as well. But yeah, you can't make a private nested type. It actually has, it's going to have to end up being accessible. And so that's just, now you've got all these, expectations dot mock that you have to expose. Well, not a lot, but maybe you're going to have some if you want to use it. If it only has operators, you don't have to make it public then. You can still keep it private. But you then, no, there wouldn't be a problem with that. It's only if you have other kind of members on it, because then you have to be able to access that type to call things on it of that type. So it just makes it, one, it makes it complete if I do this, and two, it'd be the only one that ever does this. I don't think, as MOQ and Substitute, all these other ones are obviously very mature frameworks that have a lot of usage around them, a lot of time spent, making the code base for them better and better over time. But they're all based on, as far as I know, expressions. And expressions really haven't changed in years in terms of the expression trees and the things that you can do within expression trees. And I don't know if there's any plan on doing that anytime soon. So I've always heard from the C# team that updating expressions to support modern features is a lot of work. You essentially have to support, I don't want to say two compilers, but essentially that's almost what you have to do in a way, from what I understand it. So these frameworks are always going to potentially have the problem of not being able to support things that are allowable in the language itself. And that's what rocks can do. I'm not limited, I'm not limited in rocks to support this. I just have to put in the work to do it. I'm pretty confident I can make it work. It's just, putting that time in to do it. So that's something I have to debate. But I think in just now talking to the bear or the camera, as it were, I don't know if you ever heard that expression, but if you're ever trying to solve a problem or figure out something that you need to work on you're stuck on, there's a couple things I've always found in my life to help. One of them is get up and walk away. At some point, if you get frustrated, just stop for a moment and not work on it for about 5, 10, 30 minutes. Maybe just go to bed or do something else for a while. Work on something else. If you can do that, because it's interesting to see how your brain can actually work on problems, even if you're not you think like you're not actively working on it. I've noticed that in my life. I'll sometimes go, hey, wait a minute. And I'll be driving home or I'll be doing something and I'm like, or I go outside and I cut the grass. I'm like, I wonder about this. And you just start, I think you need to have a little bit of a mindset to just start doing what if, or have random thoughts in your head flowing or whatever it is. But I find that to be helpful. Another one is just talking to yourself, because that's effectively what I'm doing right now, is talking to myself, and act like you're talking with somebody and saying, well, I tried this. What are the steps I did to get to the point I'm at, blah, blah, blah. And it seems to help in sometimes, coming up with different angles, different ways to approach the problem. So with these, I definitely think if I would do these would definitely be breaking changes, because again, I have to make the expectations disposable. I can't rely upon people always calling verify. So I think, let's go back to this one. Let's change it to 9. And let's change this one to 9. There we go. All right. So conclusions made. By the way, this is a channel I listen to sometimes when I'm coding. It has just like atmospheric background music. It's nothing like bands or something that I want to listen to all the time. I do find as a coder that sometimes listening to music that actually has lyrics to it or whatever can tend to be distracting, because I'm a musician and I've been playing music using various instruments for over 40 years now in my life. And music is a very deep part of me. And I really get into not just the compositions, but also the lyrics and what they're trying to say. And sometimes that can get a little distracting. This kind of music is just kind of like that ambient background type of stuff that I feel like can be very helpful to have something in the background other than just nothing, but isn't too distracting either. So I'm not trying to make any money off of anything with him by recommending this. It's just stuff like this I find very helpful. So anyway, where was I? So I changed those. So we talked about this, and we talked about these. And now this one, the order member. I was working on the last stream with this, and I've decided just to back it out for now, because I think it's a valid point, but it's not something that I've run into either. It's potentially a fair amount of work for what I think might be very little gain. The only thing I want to do is look at the branch I made and see what is in here, because I think I added attributes to mocks. List mock. Oh, I did a lot. Did I? No. I'm thinking. Yeah, I've never actually committed this. Okay, good. So these are all other things that I've done. This is just work that I've currently essentially stashed and I haven't actually done. So let's actually look at what these things are. No, not view history. That's the wrong one. I want to see compare with unmodified. Because some of these I actually do want to keep. And some of these I don't, but the whole thing of changing it for models, I'm going to put that, let's actually pin this for a second. So that one, I think I want to keep. This one, oh my God, I'm doing all the wrong things. I think a lot of these just have to do with the fact that I was missing the collection expression stuff, which is awesome. Love it. But I don't need to necessarily like make a commit with this. I could just find them. So let's see. Is this another one? Yeah, that's another one. Are all of these just... Yeah, I think they all are. I think that's all I did. But it's worth checking. Oh, these are the ones that have order by in them. Right? Except that one's empty. So... Oh, I can just double click on it. Duh. Yeah, those are fine. And then this one was equatable array test, which I really didn't care. I think I was just looking at something for that. And this one was just updating that. Yeah, we don't need to keep this. I'm going to make then just a change and just directly commit it to main, and then we're going to move on. So let's do this. Let's undo all. Yes. And then... let's just delete that. And I could just actually now go into the branch itself and say delete. We don't need, why is it not? Oh, sorry. I got to check that out. Okay, now let's delete this. And let's delete. I don't have that there. Okay, cool. So now let's actually go into the error list. And that's interesting. Huh. I might have to shut down and start up again because I was getting some errors. So let's do that. Yes, Copilot. God, that thing just keeps coming up and saying, buy me, use me. Clean, let's build. Assuming I'm on the right keys, the key setting. I always have to flip the switch over here for the function keys. Build succeeded. Even though you're telling me down here that that they're not. So let's just run all tests, because running all tests is a good thing, right? And you're running tests. So if you're running tests, it meant to build. I don't know why it's saying there's 14 errors, but whatever. That's the fun of coding. And all of them pass, as expected. I don't know why you think there are errors. What's this one? Use equals to, yeah, I think that's one I ignore on purpose because I've tried to change this and it doesn't. Why is this not coming up? Rocks object debug cannot find rocks system, whatever. I don't know why it's coming up with these errors. But everything's running and building. Now, with this mini set of things that I want to change, the first thing I want to do here is, what was that called? Somebody at work brought this up, and I just want to add this as a package to test with. I think it's called like State Machine or something like that. And we were considering using it because we're basically doing this whole async flow with a service call and whatnot. And I notice I already have like vulnerable packages. Use AutoMapper instead. Okay, whatever. Got some stuff to clean up. Got 37 updates to do. Machine state. I think that's what it's called. Or is it state machine? Stateless. I think that's the one. I think that's the one. Hold on, let me... Because he sent me an article from Scott Hanselman. state machine, and then stateless. Is that the one? Stateless, is that the one? Could be. Stateless. As you can tell, oh, there's another one here that, wow, that was a little interesting. One was like a different logo than the other one that was, or the same logo but a different name. I don't know. Stateless 3.0. I want to just make sure I'm grabbing the right one. And again, it's mostly just to have it be tested with my Rocks CodeGen thing to make sure that I do that correctly. So let's just go here and simple state machine archived from CodePlex, because of course. So where is the NuGet? Okay, so NuGet, it is stateless. Okay, so that is the right one. All right, so let's bring that in. Install. I think it did the right thing. So let's come into here and go into our program, and the big list down at the bottom here somewhere. And so what we're going to want to do is stateless dot any type. We don't care. Okay. And then let's grab this out, and then we're going to comment all these out just for a moment, because we just want that to run, and we don't want these to run either. And then let's make sure test with types. Okay, is that the one that's, yes it is. Okay, let's let this one. So this is a custom app I wrote just to do something to test all these frameworks out and see what, I might have to do some mapping to it. This, oh, so we found 16 types and they all worked. Cool, I love it when it does that. Mostly because when I add a new framework, it is showing that I'm not, that Rocks is getting more stable with things over time. That I can bring in a new framework and it just doesn't bomb on stuff, if that makes sense. So this framework, this test app just goes through and finds types that it can mock, and then it makes simple mocks of them. It doesn't actually exercise them. It's just, can it make a mock? Can it generate a mock stuff? Can it generate mock stuff that can be compiled? And that alone has found lots of fun things in my code. So, okay, so let's then actually go up to here and let's say manage NuGet packages for solution. There we go. Because as you notice, there was some issue ones. So installed. I'm assuming there's more than that. That's kind of weird. Why is it not showing any? Oh, there. Okay. There's so many that I reference. It takes a moment or 10 to actually get up to speed. Yeah, Aspire. That's now a thing. Now, eventually, updates should probably do this. And so let's go through and do the .NET ones, code analysis ones. Do they update? They go to 4.10. Yes. But I'm not going to do release because this is just, okay. So that's fine. Let's select all these and let's update them. Now that may alone break some of the stuff in the CodeGen app, but you know, that's why we have tests. That's why we have tests. And I've said that time and time again in my free code session videos. You have to test. As a developer, you have to write tests. I simply don't know how you can write code that goes to production without a good suite of tests. It just helps so much all the time. The internet's so helpful, as Captain America would say. All right, so we accept everything, and there we go. Okay, so now we've got those updated. Let's just go to install and see if there's any that have any vulnerabilities because we shouldn't have any. No packages found. Well, you're lying because well, that's weird. What? That's a okay. Now it went away. So all of these now should be updated. There was something about this AutoMapper one being like, maybe I missed it. But everything seems to be good. Okay, so now what do we want? Oh, see, now they're not vulnerable. But there was one, they need another switch in here to show you, like, why is it giving you a, like, Elasticsearch is, okay, so let's actually go through these and see which ones are giving us the issues. So Elasticsearch, let's make a list. Elasticsearch.net should go to Elastic Clients Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch. Because, of course. I'm trying to see if there's any others that have, this is obsolete, go here. I thought there was one with AutoMapper, but there isn't. I must have been seeing things, but that's okay. I do that sometimes. All right, so that's the only one. And the other thing I want to do is look at the mappings. Did I ever do, yeah, I did do a whole bunch of mappings with this. Not a lot. And what this basically is, there's some cases where, like, I do automatic defaults for type parameters. I'll just basically set them to object or like int for if it needs to be constrained to a struct, just to make it simple. But there are some cases where there's constraints on them, and then I can't do that. So then I put in like a little bit extra work to put in these mappings to make it work. And do I really want to do that right now? I guess I do. I mean, why not? The best laid plans can always fall apart. So let's come back here. Have this take 20 minutes to regenerate the list. And let's look for Elasticsearch. And let's say remove it. Uninstall. Right? And take your time. I mean, just go ahead. I mean, this is a really fast machine. I think this is just NuGet getting a lot of packages. Give me more information about these packages, and it takes forever for it to find them. So now let's do this. And let's install that. Okay. And now let's come back here and look at the programs. Yeah, because that no longer works. So I want to say elastic dot clients. Did that? Elasticsearch net? Nope. API call details? Nope. This might be fun. That's fine. So we got that, right? So now we're going to pull this up and do what I did before, which is this. And then we're going to comment all these out. And then also that one mapping file. I bet a lot of this stuff doesn't even work anymore. So let's see what breaks. Well, also, you know, that could break. But then with Aspire, because now it's iResource with parent. What was the, wait, what was it saying here? The typer namespace cannot be found. How did it work before? Did it just... No? Okay. Let's see what breaks with Elasticsearch now. Well, it's taking its sweet time now. Good. Nothing broke. That's actually better. That's actually better. Because now what I can do is assuming... Sometimes I like change things and it's like, oh yeah, everything's working, everything's fine, and it really isn't. But we can now uncomment all this. We can put this back where it was. Elastic. And now we can say run everything, and or not. What is this? Sure, pick that one. I don't care. With this program, the disadvantage is that I am referencing all these NuGet packages. So if they change anything, if they remove a type, if they put something, I've got to go in and just get it reworking enough so that I don't run into a problem. So fortunately, with the work I've done over the last year or so, and again, my free code session episodes mention this, this has gone through a lot of iteration to actually work. Because it used to not, I thought it worked, but it wasn't working. And then I ran into where it would basically take up so much memory. It was ridiculous. So I've done a lot of optimization to get this to work. So it sometimes leaves me in a state of, when this actually comes back and says, yep, everything's fine. Is it really? Are you actually like succeeding, or are you failing? And my code is incorrect. But whose fault would that be? Mine. So this takes about, I think, a minute or two on my machine to actually get through all of the packages and their assemblies and types in them. So, and it's alphabetically sorted. So as this is going through, I can kind of get an idea as to where things are at. I'm in the M's, so progress. Unity framework always takes forever. That framework is one that's I've found so many bugs and issues with in terms of what Rocks assumed. There's some things in Entity Framework that I'm just like, oh, you can do that. I think there was one that you can like do a static new toString, which I was not expecting that you could do, but that's legal or something like that. Ugh, just such a mess. Such a mess, but it's stuff that's technically correct in C#, so now I handle those. And again, I want people to be able to reference a library, and if they want to mock stuff, they should be able to do it. I should be able to handle those cases. So it's always, do I see the sea of red fly by when I do this? Because that means now there's things that are potentially wrong. Maybe I need to do new mappings. Maybe there's a new problem I found in Rocks. But we're close. Nope. Good. Okay. And so then the last thing I wanted to do before we move on to another issue is let's just go look at the collection. Yeah, let's sort by these. So I want to say collection expression can be simplified in the entire solution. And I think these would all be the ones that I was talking about before. So let's apply. Boom. I like that. I find that I'm still debating primary constructors, but I find that feature to be just, I love it. Absolutely love it. So you should all go away, right? Well, collection initialization can be simplified. Oh, yeah. I like that. Love it. because now it just uses that and does the correct thing. Great. There must be like different versions of these. Wait, why did you... Holy crap, what's this going to do? What's this going to do? Use collection expressions. So let's check that out. What the heck? I'm trying to... My gaming videos, I don't censor myself. I let the F-bombs fly. But when I do these coding streams, I do want to keep them, for whatever reason, a little bit nice. And I'm just looking at this going, what? What did this do? Those are indices. And I think that's saying everything in that. Wow, that's a mind blower. But we're going to take it. We take those. We take those. Put all of that around that. We take those. I'm trusting you, Microsoft, that you're telling me the right thing here. And now this, yeah, it's going to be expression body member. So we're going to be down to that. Wow. Oh, also I'm debating a coding style that we're using on my current project. The other tech guy developer on it, he likes doing this. And so all of your arguments are this way. Even when you're calling a method, like you would put those on their own line like this. That one I'm a little bit like, I don't know. That feels a little bit squirrely. Actually, what I should do here is put these on their own lines like that. That's a style. I need to go another pass through and think about styling and also what can you support in editor config and what you can't. But that one I've actually started to groove on a little bit because it makes that whole how many do I put on one line a obsolete question. Because at least with the method definitions, or if you're doing indexers, they would all be on their own line. So constructors as well. I have to admit, I kind of like that. In this case, would it make more sense to me to have these on the same line? I mean, that would almost look a little bit more elegant in a way. You know, and then why would you need that? Right? That should work. And then this is just that. Wow. I love it, and I'm also scared about it because it's so different, but yet it's the collection expressions and collection things are just showing up everywhere. May change semantics. I gotta have my computer checked because it does this grinding noise sometimes. Yeah, you don't need that anymore. And then the formatting in this looks really ugly. Why is that? I think it's because... And then these should be over, and then that should be like that. Okay. I know, I'm being really picky. Okay, and like, why did you... Some of these I didn't know what it was going to do, and so I was a little... No, fix formatting, don't do that. Well, this one we definitely do, because this one looks like a kitty wampus. Where did that phrase come from? Well, look at that. Like, what in the world are you doing there? Like, sometimes it doesn't seem to respect that I'm actually using tabs. And yes, I use tabs. If you don't like tabs, too bad. I like tabs. Yeah, like that's all like really wonked out. I don't know why. Anyway, I could spend all of the days doing that, but as span. See, that didn't work though. A collection expression of type span. Yeah, see that one is one that I can't actually do that on. That's why I didn't want to just do like on the rough struct test. That one is not allowed. And this one, compilation, sure. Member can be read only. I like those. We're going to take those too. And now that one can't be. That's interesting. You notice it went away. Like it's like, oh, well. But now that one can't be a. Because I think what it's saying is one of these has to be the same as the other. And so how do you know what actual type this is going to be? Because that's just going to be a object, like object equality are equal. That definition is actually generic. So I have to, this is assuming the target type will tell you what actual collection to make. But in this case, that isn't there. This one says, oh, you need a string array. So it's going to make this one a string array. That's why one actually worked, but the other one didn't. Why is this one saying something like move necessary cast? I don't think that's true. I think I want to be a string. Let's see how smart it is. I think it does infer then that this has to be a string that's being passed in as a null. Okay, that I buy. Sort of. Member can be made read-only. I don't know what that means. Is that what the interface is actually defined? See, it doesn't do that. It just says int. So why does it say make it member can be made read-only? Use a primary constructor. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Those are all in code generation tests anyway, right? Move necessary suppression. Oh. I guess I don't need that anymore. But I do. Yeah, what? Why did you tell me to do that? Because it's obviously needed. So that's not correct. Remove unused parameter. Yeah, these ones I also think I need. Slice can be simplified. Ooh, that looks interesting. Use range operator. Oh. I wonder how much I'm breaking by doing this. Use compound assignment. Handlers, if it's null, do that. Yeah. Yeah, to do the new hotness. I mean, it's equivalently the same. Which is saying that if the handlers is null, then just make it an empty, you know. Oh, I mean, this looks so not C-sharpish to me, but it's also like kind of wickedly cool. Oh, and then it's just going to be that one, right? Yeah. Use local function. Oh yeah, I've seen that one before. I've ignored it. Use primary constructor. We're ignoring. All right, so let's close that. Bring it up again because reasons, and we're going to run all the tests again and run all the codegen tests. If that works, then I'm going to check it in and we're going to actually move on to fixing a bug because fixing bugs is a good thing. All right. Build everything. builds everything, run everything. And I see the little icon. I think my face is covering it. I don't think you actually see it, but you sometimes. Oh, wow. Oh boy. Lots of tests failed. Method not found. Missing. Oh shit! Sorry, I just broke my rule. I know exactly what just happened, and this is something I need to make a note to address this. Let me go to my. Fortunately, I just remembered what it was. Thank God. Compare with unmodified. These can't change. So, and this is to do with a testing package that I'm using that that does the diff and handles all the building of the source generator stuff, blah 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 blah. I think there's a new version of it that came out. Well, there was, and that broke because NUnit's new version doesn't have that method. And so you get this missing method exception. And I forgot that when I did that update there. Let's see if this works. And so, yeah, that's why when it came back so fast, I'm like, that's not right. It should have taken longer. And it's still, yeah. Let's do compare with unmodified again. Maybe I need to have the other one there as well. NUnit. Oh, you can have that. Oh, that's right. Where is that testing package? Let's come over here and look at it. Code analysis C# source generators. So I think these can't be changed. So let's compare with unmodified. Yeah, these need to stay this. Nope, not that. That was not. What did I just do? I think I grabbed the wrong ones. Well, these are right. Let's back. I don't want to back everything out. This is my mistake of I just updated way too much and I didn't make a commit. So that's my fault. Yeah, I know what the problem is. I just... To solve it's going to be a pain in the butt. I kind of just broke myself. You have the tests come back way too quick. Then that means it's still... Well, is it taking longer? It seems to be taking longer now. That's a good sign. Yeah, and then it gets to this point and it's like really, really struggling. Okay, so hopefully this now fixed it. I guess maybe I just needed to shut down and start up again. Another adage, which is always very helpful. Shut down and start up again. And now they all pass. Let's get the CodeGen app to run. And then if this is good, I will just commit with new NuGet package references and more collection expressions. And then we will move on to fixing a bug. And then I think I will be done for the morning and get to play some Batman this afternoon. Which, by the way, if you haven't played the Batman games, they are just absolutely fun. I finished Arkham Asylum a week ago, and yesterday I started playing Arkham City, which I found issues trying to get it to run. And it's funny, I had to like let through ransomware the Batman launcher, BM launcher exe, get elevated permissions, because if I would try to change settings, I was getting a .NET framework issue because a lot of these apps are really old and I needed to give it more permissions to change stuff. And then it worked. It was running, well, at least it ran for 2.5 hours last night with no issues. So hopefully I'll be able to get through more of the game. It's such a fun game though. There's so much to do. I don't know why. I just really enjoy playing the Batman games. They're a lot of fun. On to the G's. On to the L's. I don't want an L. I really don't want an L. I don't want to take the L. This is where I need background jokes to happen. Because what do you do now? I'm just waiting for all these to come back and say everything's good. But I was watching some video where they were talking about like days or even now where really complicated apps, especially if you're using like C++ or other compilers or whatever, can take still like minutes, if not even longer, to finish. And my God, how can you be, I don't want to use agile as a buzzword there, but agile in just the general sense of being able to move fast if it takes that long to build something. You know, hopefully at least you have things that are part and parcel that you can build parts of it, and maybe there's like a thing at the end that builds everything together. But man, to be on a project like that would take that long for stuff to build. Yay, everything works. Okay, we're back to normal. So let's say git commit multiple NuGet packages updated and fully embraced the collection expressions. All right, so let's actually do some real work. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry. Somebody actually gave me a pull request to change like one thing that was wrong in a markdown file, I think the README. And yeah, I forgot. I forgot about that. So now I committed everything. Okay, good. Good. And those are the ones that, oh, how did I miss those? I keep missing those. We'll fix those when I get to it. Okay. So this one is one that I actually found. So we're going to say that's done. And we're going to move on to this issue. I don't think I'm going to actually get to the CSLA stuff, but that's fine. That's fine. I can do that at a later time. So this one, what happened was we were running some tests, and I think it had to do with HTTP client, because then you have to mock something that's protected, which Rocks handles like no one's business. The other frameworks have to do like mock MOQ protected and do weird things with protected members. Not Rocks. It handles it no problem. Except our setup was wrong. So we were getting an expectation exception, as you should, because it's saying, hey, this, you had an expectation set and this wasn't, this didn't, happen. So we get an expectations exception, but it basically says, expectation not found on, and then there's nothing there. Something like that. I'm like, what is this? What's going on? And so what I quickly realized is my get member description is only looking for public members. It's not looking for private or internal or whatever. We basically got to say non-public. So yeah, it's not severe. It still works. So it's like, we don't have to panic. But it is a bug that we need to fix. So let's actually do that. So let's make a new branch. Put in the wrong name, and we'll do that. Protected member descriptions cannot be found. There we go. Okay, and what's the first thing we do? We test those. We test those. We test those. So this is a nice one too, because it doesn't break all of the generated code. Like sometimes if I have to fix a bug or do something and then the code generation changes, then all these tests fail because they suddenly don't have, that shouldn't be there. I hope it's not. Yeah. I'm like, that shouldn't have been there anyway. Okay. So what do I want here? I want a test. Well, it's not going to, it's not going to affect the generated code. It's actually an integration test. So we want to, do we have anything with protected members? I think we do. No, we don't. Non-public members? No. Non-public member test. And this one's going to suck. Why? Because, oh no. No, that should work. Because I could just make something that's protected. Okay, so let's do that. Non-public member tests. Okay. And so let's just grab something here so we're doing the right thing. Get rid of all those. I thought I keep saying this. I thought that my editor config actually set up so that it always does this by default, but it doesn't seem to do that. So what we want here is public interface, or we can say public abstract class has protected member, for lack of a better term. And then we want a protected as protected member because we should that. And then we have a protected void do something, I don't know, int data. And it does something. And what are you complaining about? Ugh, stop it. Stop it. You're being too smart. Can I make it abstract? There. Now it's going to shut up like it should. Okay. So now what we want here is not a fact, a test. And we want to have rock create of has protected member. And I'm already doing the thing that I said I'm not to, but I'm already. So public static void throw expected exception. So what do we want to do here? We want to create var member expectations, which is a new has protected member create expectations. And I know this works. This is one of the odd things because I'm referencing this as a project. Sometimes it gets squirrely and it's like, no, this doesn't exist. I'm like, yes, it does. I know it does. Okay. So what we're going to do is just that. And then we're going to say var, let's just change this to protected member expectations, and then protected member is equal to that instance. And then we're going to say assert that calling do something on this with a 3, doesn't matter, throws type of expectation exception with message equal to, and we're going to say this because I don't know what it actually is off the top of my head. Okay, so we're going to say that with that. Okay, let's see what this does. Is inaccessible. Right. Right. Public void calls do something. What does that do? This dot do something. 3. Even though, yeah, that's what we want. So we want to do this, do that, that. And it failed. Why did it fail? But was no handlers were found for, and that's not right. Okay. That was what the error was saying, wasn't it? Expected equal to A, but was no, yeah. Okay. So what we want this to say is like something like for void do something int. I think that's what it's going to turn into. Okay. And the way we can figure this out is if we go into rocks and I go back to my issue here and I say find this. I think what I need to do here is say get members except binding flags public or binding flags non-public or and no what or what I think I might be hitting the wrong key. Okay, binding flags instance. For now, this might change in the future to static members, but we don't support that right now. Okay, so what does this do now when we do this? Actually, crap, we have to okay, so wait a minute. Do I just have tests here? That was type extensions. So extensions. Type extensions. Do I have give member description? Yes, I do. But what I want... Okay, so that would actually break all these if I kept that in there. So what we... Because of... You know... Reasons bar binding flags is equal to this or static. There. Okay. So what we want is another case here for 7 where this is a protected foo. Why are you complaining? Oh. Well, crap. Testing is hard. Testing is hard. Your member description attributes do not exist. Oh. Type of no identifiers. Okay, so we could make this as a sealed class, right? And now what are you going to bark about? New protected member declared and sealed. Bite me. Okay. 7. So we want this to be a system GUID protected foo. Yeah, you know, let's just make it simple. Let's just make it a void. We don't need all that. Right. We just want to show that we're actually getting this to be what we expect it to be. All right. So now if I run the tests here, and the reason I balked at this is because I went in the integration tests, I got to shut down and restart again. Okay, what? I don't care about those. Oh, geez. It's a static, but is neither static nor not inheritable. I know that because I'm trying to do this and you won't let me do it. Maybe if I just made this that. Are you going to shut up now? What are you... Oh my God. Private, read only. int data is equal to default. Are you going to shut up now? This dot data. There. Why? Shut up. You gonna run now? No, you're not. Of course you wouldn't. Why would you ever do that? What? Bro. God. Oh my God. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? You... Oh my God. This is maddening. Just to get this to run. Okay, one failed. Which one failed? See, that's the... Why protected by... Oh, but int 32. So, that's encouraging. Now I got those to pass. Do we get all these to pass? All right. So now what I'm going to do is do the shutdown startup again. And let's do 2022 and say rocks. Okay. So now let's go back into our integration tests. Yeah, I know you're going to whine. But let's see what this one does. Okay, so you failed. For some reason, the first time it fails, it doesn't put it there. Well, I do something. Int 32. Yay! Yay! And now it passes. Let's run all the tests and see if those pass. And then we're going to run all the tests for the code generation test. None of those should fail, though, because this is a runtime thing. This is something I purposely changed so that it tries to get the description at runtime, because that way I save a little bit in the metadata in terms of now I don't have to put the method description in the metadata, nor do I have to, I do have to figure that out because I need to actually put that in the code, but I don't have to actually put that into the attribute itself all over the place. And these are exceptional. They should not happen unless something went wrong with the test. And then I'm okay with doing the little bit of extra work at runtime to go through in reflection and find out what that description of that member is. So I'm okay with that. So let's run that. Let's go through these tests. And then if that works, while that's running, let's go into the change log and put that in here. So we want fixed non-public member descriptions are now found. And this is issue, and this is why I put the number there, because it's really simple to figure out what that is. 317. There. I don't know what this, if this would fail, this one, I'd be like shocked because it shouldn't. It should have nothing to do with just creating the code and compiling it. But I like it's that whole phrase of eating your own dog food. I don't know when I heard that. That was like decades ago. And using this on a project that I'm actually doing at work for our tests, using this for our mocking framework, find something like this that I just, that's why I'm like, at some point I want to go and find projects that are public that use a mocking framework and just change it into what Rocks does, just to see what that's like. And maybe I'll find some other things that are like, I don't really like the way that works, or this is wrong, this should actually be fixed. That's the only way you actually find out other kinds of bugs. Writing good software, and I'm not saying Rocks is great software, I'm not going to make that claim, but writing, that's interesting. SEP was before the ends. Okay. Anyway, writing really good software, resilient software, good software is hard. It is tough. I think you can make like average or decent software to make it so that it really, really runs well is amazing. And that's like when I play video games like the Batman games or any other kind of video game, I'm always just stunned as to how do they do this? How do they make this work so well? Amazing stuff. And we work. Okay, we updated the change log. We did this. We're going to do a git commit. 3170 added non-public members to find when we look for a member description. Commit. Do that. I know I should make PRs, but I've always done this and I should squash and merge and I should do all that stuff, but I've always been the one that's done like the bulk of the work. You know what I mean? And so it's always just been simple for me to make this just something that I just do myself, but I should probably change my behaviors. Okay. So we pushed it. We're good. Stop. I don't want to do that. Delete the remote. Come over here, and I should see that I've been refreshed, and it is, and we close the issue. We close those. All right. So that is done. That is done. I'm not going to do these other two because I'm already at like a minute 20, and quite frankly, I'm kind of out of serious brain power at the moment, so I'm going to save these for another coding stream and see how far I get with those. This one is simple. This is just, I have a parameter that says is not sealed as a Boolean, and I don't like that it's a not. I want to say is it sealed and handle it as a positive. That's just flipping logic. That should be easy. But this one, just to talk about this one, let's put that up there. So this is for a custom serialization framework I'm making for CSLA that's based on source generators, because of course, which seems to be a lot faster than the one that's actually in CSLA. Haha. But the idea that I had initially is to add on the serialization interface that you have to decorate all your types with. If you want to know why, you may not even know what CSLA is, so never mind that. But the point is I wanted to have all these on one interface and that these would have DIMs. So these would just be like default implementations which wouldn't do console write line, but just would do nothings. So you didn't have to actually implement them. And my code would just automatically call like deserialize and then custom deserialize. And then you could do whatever you wanted. But the problem is that because my source generator is .NET Standard, I can't define an interface like this that has DIMs on it. That's not allowed. So then I was starting to think, do I have to then basically generate all the code that my stuff does so that it's actually available in whatever runtime moniker that the user is using? That would get really ugly. And so I'm glad I just sat on this and thought about it, because what I'm going to do is have another interface that's called like customization or whatever. And since you have to define your business objects to be partial. If you want to use this serialization framework, then if you also want to do custom serialization, you would implement this interface and do whatever you wanted to do there. I don't care. And so then what I'm going to do in my code is do an if check and say, if this type also implements this interface, then call either deserialize or serialize. And that should then allow a developer to do custom serialization. Like if you had a non-managed backing field, just a regular normal field, CSLA won't pick that up, but you can handle serialization, or if you want to serialize a calculation or whatever the case may be. So this would allow you to do it. And then you're responsible for making sure the deserialization and serialization happen in the right order, because you're getting access to the stream. So you got to read and write from it the same way. But then that would allow for it. But I'm not going to do that right now because I'm done with coding for today. I fixed something. I talked about stuff. I fixed something. I went nuts with collection expressions, which one should do because that's cool stuff. And I will handle these with another coding stream in the near future. So if you joined and watched at any point in time, I do appreciate it. Or if you watch this later, as always, the subscribe and like is a good thing. I'm trying to get my subscriber numbers up. I'm not going to do anything like weird with my videos or do anything with clickbait or stuff like that. I'm not gonna do that. But it would be nice to hit that magical 1,000 number, because then you can start getting ad revenue, which would be nice. But yeah, I mean, if you just hit that subscription button, I would definitely really appreciate that. And watch for more random code videos in the streaming videos in the future. I will be online later today playing Batman Arkham City and having fun streaming that. So take care, everybody, and I will see you later.